Welcome to Ingredient Insiders. I'm John Magazino.
And I'm Andrea Parkins.
Thanks for watching this clip of our interview with Danielle Sepsy from the Hungry Gnome.
For the full episode, find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Links in the description below. What year did the Hungry Gnome start? Mm-hmm. And what were your first products? And how has it grown over the last couple of years?
The Hungry Gnome started, technically, as I was saying, when I was 13, but...
And why was it the Hungry Gnome?
What was it before?
It was called Sconehenge.
Okay, that's cool.
Which is such a great name.
I dig that.
I love that.
Someone else has it trademarked.
Really?
So
you should make a scone called that, though.
Yeah, maybe I can't. It might be trademarked, so I don't know if I can even call
You can't even call the scone that?
Yeah.
All right. That would be awesome.
I know. That was the original name.
I like the Hungry Gnome, though.
The Hungry Gnome name came from, actually, my sister is my best friend, and I have two sisters. They're both my best friends. I don't want Julia to get mad. Julia, I love you too. But Christiana, my older sister, she collected gnome things when we were growing up and just had this secret obsession with gnomes. Uh-huh. And so we always had gnome stuff all around the house. And when it came time to name the business, I don't know, I thought it was a really rustic yet elegant sort of logo and feel, and I just loved it. So,
and it's got a little bit of like a UK.
Absolutely.
The gnomes hiding out in
I have a gnome coffee
Ireland.
table book.
I think it's more like Norway and stuff, but whatever.
Okay.
But it feels European.
Yeah, it does, for sure. And what year was that?
So in
the business started.
So probably around 2018 or 2017, I started to make scones again, sell them to friends, family for events, and then to a local coffee shop in New York City. Actually, I would go and hand deliver them on my way to work, and I knew that I wanted to do it full time, but I like I said before, I was really scared to take the plunge. And then in 2020, I got laid off from my job, and I emailed actually Joe Coffee, which is now one of my biggest wholesale accounts still today. And I said, I make baked goods. I have this company, which literally barely existed because it was really in my apartment and I had no employees but myself. And I said, I'd love to bring you samples. And they said, come to the office, bring the samples on this day, whatever. But they said, we've had longstanding relationships with our clients, with our vendors. I don't think we're interested in changing, but bring the samples. And that night, I got an email from the founder of the whole company, Jonathan, and he said, in the 18 years I've been in business, I've never had better baked goods. I need to sell these.
That's amazing.
And ever since then, I make most of the baked goods for Joe Coffee. They have a lot of stuff, and we make, I'd say, at least 85% of the SKUs that they have are from the Hungry Gnome. Then I just started hitting the pavement, bringing more samples to other coffee shop companies that I loved. So we sell to Birch Coffee, Ground Central, Bluestone Lane, now Wonder, which is a really big company that's growing.
New Jersey.
We have 300 wholesale customers now, which is pretty wild.
Incredible.
We make about 15,000 baked goods a day, which is wild because
How does that feel?
It's surreal. I sometimes just take a step back and look at the kitchen in action and just say, wow, only 5.5 years ago, I was doing this out of my apartment, making, a few dozen and thinking it was this huge feat to get through that. And now we're able to execute 15,000 with just 30. Actually, we don't even have all 30 people there at one time. Let's say 24, 25 people at a time, making all this stuff, every single day. And everyone always tells me it still tastes the same as when you made it with your own hands in a small batch. So
you've been able to scale the business. Absolutely. That's the name of the game.
Yeah,
that's really wonderful. So a Chef's Warehouse customer, how can they get the Hungry Gnome? How do they come for a wholesale account?
So there's are actually a couple options. You can get already baked, and we have all different SKUs from the scones, muffins, cookies. Our Nutella banana bread is a huge seller. Biscuits is another big thing of mine, my rosemary honey biscuits and my everything bagel biscuits. You can get it already baked, or through Chef's Warehouse, you can get frozen, ready to bake certain items, which is really exciting. So you have my sea salt chocolate chip cookies, which is a huge seller, the rosemary biscuits, all the different scones, and you can make them right on site. So it's great because nothing's better than a warm, freshly baked scone.
Sure.
And also it reduces waste because you can keep it in the freezer for months and just use them as needed.
So what are the top sellers at the Hungry Gnome?
Believe it or not, even though I'm the Scone Queen, the best-selling item for the whole company is the blueberry crumb muffin.
Interesting.
It's a really solid muffin.
Yeah.
Then probably the chocolate chip scone, the sea salt chocolate chip cookie, the Nutella banana bread, and the rosemary honey biscuit. Those are my biggest sellers, but it's hard to say that there's no item that doesn't do well, because if it doesn't sell a few hundred pieces at least a day, I just stop making it. So everything we have on our menu right now is successful, but blueberry muffin, we're making like 2,500 a day of just that.
How does a home consumer get the products?
You can order on our website, thehungrygnome.com. You order, you choose your ship date, and it'll get to you within 24 to 48 hours.
Did you ever think you wanted to have a brick and mortar store in New York City or somewhere?
People ask me that all the time, and typically my answer is no.
Yeah, smart.
So smart.
And it's partly because I am able to do a lot of volume and scale and not have the headache of running a retail operation.
Yeah.
And so by partnering with these really amazing shops, coffee shops, restaurants, hotels that I love, that I trust, to have a good customer service experience for my customers and my products, I get to put that on them. That's what they do best. I mean, I do miss that face-to-face customer interaction. I do, but I do get more of that now on social media and stuff like that. And I do pop-up events and things, but I don't have to worry about who's at the register from this time to this time. It's the more I talk to other business owners, I think I'm doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yes,
but
100%.
We do, the best kept secret is that you can come to our commercial bakery Monday through Friday. Usually I say between 9:30 and 3 is the best time to come. Stuff is coming out of the oven hot and fresh. You can choose your own journey. You don't have to be committed, on the website, you have to commit to a certain number of things. Whereas when you come, you can just get one blueberry muffin.
So
you can get a box of assorted
Long Island City.
You're gonna have a really
this
long
is a
line.
nice little secret.
Yeah, it's the best kept secret, and more people are catching on. So we do have a lot of people come every day, which is fun. And you get to see us in action, and it's actually very cool to see, because it's not easy bake oven, as I say. It's lots of big ovens and tons of racks and people running around, and it's really fun.
What would you say to the 13-year-old girl today who wants to start a bakery?
I would say it is a lot of hard work, but you're doing what you love and it will all work out. And I think that's always my biggest piece of advice is if you just chase the money, you won't be successful. And I knew I was doing what I loved, because I would often, especially when I first started, I would meet people on street corners with their order and whatever, and I'd walk away and they'd be chasing me and be like, I didn't pay you. And I'm like, oh. And I just love to watch people eat and enjoy my baked goods, and it brought me so much joy, and it brought them people so much joy. And so I think when you do what you love and you're passionate about it and you put so much care into it, people feel that in your product. Also, how you treat your employees and people, it I think results in a better product also. And I feel that our operation, we're like a family. We truly care about each other, and I think that results in a better product. And so, sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, I mean, I think I would tell my 13-year-old self that you're going to do it. You're going to be happy, and you're going to get to do what you love every single day and bring joy through your food. And that's everything I ever dreamt of and more. And now with my book, which you can segue into that now, but that's also something that I dreamt of my whole life.
Yeah.
And
you light up when you talk about the book. So, I mean, is that talk about that a little bit?
I always knew I wanted to write a cookbook. A lot of people kept saying, you need to write a book about scones. And I kept saying, I'm taking that recipe to the grave. there's no way I'm giving that
secret.
recipe away. It's a secret. And it is a secret even with my employees. I'm the only person that weighs out the scones and the biscuits. Nobody knows that recipe but me, still to this day. Before I came here, it is. The scone recipe is in the book. Okay. So nobody knows except my publisher. People are going to go to her house and hold her at gunpoint for the rest.
In March, there's going to be 25 scone bakeries opening in New York.
No, definitely not. But everyone said we want the scone recipe, and I really had to do a lot of internal. I just didn't know if I wanted to do it, but I talked to a lot of people in the industry. I talked to Christina Tosi. I talked to some other people who did the same. And they said, you know what? At the end of the day, people will still buy your stuff. A, because you're going to do it better. B, because this is a wholesale business. So I'm banking on people are still going to Joe Coffee and getting a scone and a coffee in the morning. They're not going to stop and make scones every day.
100%. Yes. No one's making scones. No,
right.
They're coming.
No one's doing what you're doing.
And the passion that you're putting into it can't be replicated. Thanks for listening to this episode of Ingredient Insiders.
You can find the products we discussed on today's episode at chefswarehouse.com or your favorite specialty retailer.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram @Ingredient Insiders and Chef's Warehouse @Where Chefs Shop.